Ladies and gentlemen, the elderly and fragile, the geriatric Joe Biden has hurt himself. Folks, he apparently has injured his ankle while playing with his dog. Folks, this could mean a number of things, and we're going to talk about that in the next couple minutes here. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, but Joe Biden is no Humpty Dumpty. And let me tell you, when I exclaim that he has fallen, that this article here says he has hurt himself, it could be that he has actually hurt himself, or it could be a cover for something. Either way, I think we need to dig through some of this. And at the end, I'm going to show you leaked footage of Joe Biden playing with what he thinks is a dog in the Ukraine. But we're going to get to that at the end of this video, just a couple minutes from now, and we are going to start. So this, my friends, the Epic Times from Jack Phillips, out just now. Joe Biden injures his ankle while playing with his dog. Now, that's according to his campaign, obviously. Let's read. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden slipped while playing with his dog Major and twisted his itty-bitty ankle. Oh, this is according to his campaign and, of course, his personal pool of reporters. His campaign said Sunday that out of an abundance of caution, he'll be examined this afternoon by an orthopedist. Yeah, sure. That's exactly what he's being examined by. Other details about this incident aren't clear at all, guys. The pool reporters said they were in Wilmington, Delaware, near Biden's home. But according to another reporter, the Philadelphia Inquirer's Jonathan Tamari, their quote, van was maneuvered so that reporters and photographers couldn't see Biden as he left the motorcade and entered the building. And Biden's team will not allow journalists off the van whatsoever. Pool is holding in the van outside of the office, end quote. That to me sounds like they're trying to keep an episode secret, if you know what I mean. Maybe a dementia episode, maybe an episode that reminded people of Alzheimer. Maybe he had a stroke, who knows? But twisted his ankle and now nobody can see. I wonder. Maybe it's an excuse for his incoming full defeat when Trump goes through the courts and proves him to be illegitimate. He's already illegitimate, but that, either way, the left needs to see it. But folks, look. Throughout the campaign, there have been questions about Biden's health. The 78-year-old is amongst the oldest to have ever campaigned for president. I thought he was, he's amongst the oldest that ever campaigned. And if he were to win, he would be the oldest, but he is not winning. So President Donald Trump, 74, and other conservatives have also questioned the former vice president's mental fitness for office, saying that some of his verbal miscues and advanced prove that he doesn't have the acuity to be president. I don't think he has the mental wherewithal to tie his shoes, ladies and gentlemen. They have also warned that Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat of California, Biden's pick for vice president, could become president should something befall Biden. And it's a terrifying thing to think about, again, but I don't believe it is happening, folks. Months ago, Dr. Kevin O'Connor of the George Washington University released a 3-page medical summary of Biden's health, saying he is a healthy, vigorous 77-year-old male who is fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency. The report noted that Biden suffered several brain aneurysms in the 1980s, saying one did not rupture, while it noted that he is taking blood thinners and medication for acid reflux. And folks, if you think that we are privy, knowing the laws, the privacy laws that protect your own personal medical history, do you really think that that is all that we have to know about Biden, that there's not more to know about his health? Folks, we have never seen a fully released, unredacted or non-redacted medical history of Joe Biden, and I don't think we ever will, ladies and gentlemen. Trump, in interviews months before the election, also questioned how Biden could perform so differently in several Democratic primary debates, suggesting the former vice president was on performance-enhancing drugs. And I wouldn't doubt it, ladies and gentlemen. There are many things you can take as a older person to enhance your mental acuity. There's many things you can take as a younger person. People take Adderall all the time, folks. These are not things you should leave off the table. Numerous media outlets have called the presidential race for Biden a former senator from Delaware. The Epoch Times will not call the race pending all legal challenges and other procedural outcomes. Thank you. Kudos to you, Epoch Times. That's why I still use you as a news source to get the information to you guys, the people, because they are not going against going against the status quo, and they're doing the right thing by reporting the facts. Nobody's won this election yet, ladies and gentlemen, though Donald Trump is tremendously leading. So, it says here on Sunday, Trump told Fox Business that in order to win the election, you need a judge who's willing to hear a case and a Supreme Court who's willing to make a very big decision. And Amy Coney Barrett's going to have a very big decision to make. And I think we all know which way that will go, because the left called it when they were painting their narrative months ago. And they said Trump is appointing ACB to enact a coup and steal the presidency. Well, it won't be stealing the presidency. It will be completely legal, but ACB will make a difference in Trump winning the presidency, and the left's fairy tale in their brains can come true. And they just weave these webs to try and save their own skin anyway and point the finger. They're great at passing the buck. There's no ownership whatsoever. They need to get a copy of Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership and do a little bit of reading. Quote, this is from Trump, guys. He has plans to take this fight to the Supreme Court, obviously. So, quote, we have hundreds and hundreds of affidavits from witnesses who said they saw fraud or irregularities. These are respected people. These are people whose lives are at risk. And that's very true. Trump said this, adding that judges in some battleground states told him that he doesn't have standing to make this claim. But it doesn't matter. The claims will be made. It's not a criminal case. This is a constitutional case, and it will go to the constitutional authorities at the Supreme Court, and they will make the decisions they need to make. Secretaries of state in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona have said they've seen no evidence of fraud. And even though they've seen no evidence of fraud, we've seen plenty of evidence of Chinese money leaking into their pockets. So Biden's itty-bitty ankle, his glass-like bone structure, his crypt keeper-like appearance. Folks, have you seen Poltergeist? You remember the original Poltergeist? You remember the creepy, skinny old dude who's like part of like the ghost leadership? He was like, he was the cult leader that killed all the folks or whatever in the house that the poltergeist exists. He comes to the door. He looks just like Joe Biden. Not just him. I mean, we could make these things all day. We could say Ernest. You remember Ernest, those movies, Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Scared Silly. It's like if you made Ernest a 900-year-old person, like a wizard, and then just had him fall over things all day and jumble to himself. You'd have Joe Biden. I'm not going to try to be funny anymore. I want to keep reading, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move on to the Gateway Pundit here. Joe Biden's team won't allow pool reporters to see Biden go in or leave doctor appointment after he twists his ankle. Strange, ladies and gentlemen, and they're giving no explanation. But what do you expect from Sleepy Hayden Biden, Sleepy Joe, Mr. Amnesia himself, with the mainstream media apparently not knowing what journalism is or how to report any facts at his coattails? So this is by Christina Layla, came out just recently today. Joe Biden's team will not allow anybody to see anything, folks. 78-year-old Joe Biden slipped and twisted his ankle while playing with his German Shepherd named Major on Saturday. Joe Biden on Sunday afternoon went to visit an orthopedist. Out of an abundance of caution, they said, he will be examined by a doctor. Joe Biden's team will not allow the reporters to see Biden go in or out of this mysterious orthopedist office. Are you sure it's an orthopedist office? You know, I've seen Austin Powers. Dr. Evil could fool a lot of people and pretend to be an orthopedist while plotting the destruction of the earth with magma strapped, laser-strapped shark swimming in magma. I'm not sure how that goes. It's a failed joke. Either way, I said I wasn't going to be funny. We're going to continue. The press van was maneuvered so that reporters and photogs couldn't see Biden as he entered the building. The transition team, again, will not allow journalists off the van, and no explanation was given. And this is via political reporter Alex Thompson. Another update from the doctor on Biden's foot. There's no obvious fracture. He'll be getting an additional CT scan for more detailed imaging. You know, when they're giving a CT scan on a foot, it's very easy to also give a CT scan on somebody's head. And when you're looking for bleeding and for obvious things that could cause mental duress, you may do a CT scan. It may just be that Biden and all them hoped Trump would concede and then Kamala could get in before he, as he withered away before he ever got to office. But obviously that's not happening, and he's becoming more and more exposed for the ill and sick. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately for the country, but I guess unfortunately for his family, the geriatric mess falling apart right in front of our eyes. So, folks, in the article, it says now, what's really going on with Joe Biden? How serious is his injury? If this was President Trump, the media would be screaming and screeching and spreading crazy conspiracy theories all about his health. When President Trump announced he tested positive for COVID-19, the American people watched Trump as he walked onto Marine One en route to Walter Reed. Do you remember that, when people were watching, just staring for any little thing that showed COVID-19 was the apocalypse, and it didn't happen? Trump was fine. Joe Biden can't even do that for a twisted ankle. It says here, why can't reporters see Biden go in or leave his doctor's appointment? I mean, guys, that's a fair question, isn't it? What are they hiding in that doctor's office, ladies and gentlemen? I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. Do you think they're hiding possible brain aneurysm issues, possible duress mentally that they're trying to hide? Maybe he's getting a CT scan on his head to see if he can continue his faulty and foolish campaign against Trump. Folks, before I let you go, I've obtained secret footage. Well, it's fake. It's not really secret, but I'm going to tell you and say and pretend that it's secret footage. And if you're listening to this, guys, on Apple Podcasts or Audible or anything like that, hop on Rumble, hop on YouTube, go to American Reveille, go to my YouTube channel. You can find the links in the comment section down here or in the description section, regardless of what you're watching, and come see this video, because this is what I believe to be either Joe Biden or a very close relative of Joe Biden in the Ukraine. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, Joe Biden or a close relative in the Ukraine playing with what they believe to be their dog. Let's see that again, folks. There is Joe Biden's distant relative, and there's their little doggy here in the Ukraine, and it doesn't even like Joe Biden. Oh, and pops Joe Biden, the guy I'm pretending to be Joe Biden, right in the face. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden doesn't have a good track record with his political career. He doesn't have a good track record with friends and family. He's a plagiarist. People don't like him, and he obviously doesn't have a good track record with animals. Joe, I hope your ankle is better, I guess, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we all know you're not going to the doctor to talk about your ankle whatsoever. Folks, thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk on the podcast Monday. Have a great Sunday, guys. Bye.
Yeah, mate, come here, mate. I need to talk to you about something, mate. I need you to subscribe to my YouTube channel right here. There's this subscribe button, right? You hit this subscribe button and you say, hey, mate, I want to be part of the movement, the right-wing conservative movement, right? And then you like it, you share it, right? And we do this because we have a major dingo problem here. Oh, don't get me started on the dingo. They snatch babies. They do all kinds of horrible things. So if you want to prevent dingoes from coming into our cities and attacking our storefronts, taking our babies, doing horrible things, you like it, you share it, you subscribe, and then you go and get Parler right there. You look up at The James Lane. At The James Lane. Yeah. Right there. Excuse me. Oh, God. Yeah. Sorry. So, you subscribe, you follow, you do all that good stuff. We get together and we do a good old-fashioned poop party right there on the left. All right, mate. I'll see you next time.